Hey fam.
It's story time.
What's up YouTube fam? Thank you so much for tuning in today. I got another story time for you all. This one won't be super long, maybe about 10 to 15 minutes, give or take. But I do want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every last one of you. To my new viewers and my subscribers, to the old viewers and subscribers, I truly appreciate you guys. My channel is starting to grow a little bit and I'm getting excited. I'm still small, so hey, but it is what it is. I appreciate you all. But with that said, before I continue on with this journey, I'd like for you all to take a second of your time, just hit subscribe. Go ahead, it helps me out, and continue to watch this video because I feel like you'll like this one. So without further ado, let's get into the story. So this takes place roughly about 4 to 5 years ago. I was talking to this guy I had met at my best friend / sister's wedding. I don't know if she knows it, but I think I told her a time or two. But seeing her grow into the person she is, and to see her union with her husband, you know, continue to flourish and grow and things like that, it gave me hope. I actually look up to her. Like, she's a sweetheart. She's everything. But fast forward, so I met this guy, we're gonna call him Mike. I met Mike at my sister's wedding, my friend's wedding. So I was the maid of honor and Mike was one of the groomsmen. So, you know, we didn't know each other. I don't think I'd ever seen him before, but I found out that he did go to the college that I did attend. So anyway, we became cool, we exchanged numbers, and I think a day or so went by and he hits me up. So he was like, hey, how you doing? Cherie, this is Mike. I hope all is well. Just want to know if it's okay for me to call you. He did this via text. I was like, oh, I respect you for that. I was like, yeah, hit me up roughly around this time. I'll be done and I'll be off of work. So he hit me up. We continued to talk. We just began to talk. Now, it didn't really last long, but you'll see why. As Mike and I were talking, we're getting to know each other. We're kicking it. We're hanging out. We're going downtown. We're going here, there, wherever. Like, we made time for each other. And it was fun. Like, it was really fun. However, I didn't feel that strong connection with him to the point where I was like, oh, okay, I could see myself really being with him. I hadn't at that time. However, we just continued to go ahead and hang out, and it was like, hey, whatever happens, happens. And that's the best way to be. Don't look for any expectations. You know, we just let it roll. Now, as we continue to talk, I started noticing something about Mike. I don't want to seem mean, but there was times when I kind of looked at him like, are you okay? Because we'll be carrying on with the conversation. I'll be talking about something. Then 2 seconds later, he done forgot what I said. Or he has forgotten what he said. And I was like, all right now, you know, that's kind of, it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. Because I was like, Dad, we were just talking. How you forget what you're saying in the middle of a sentence? As we were talking and stuff, that took place a lot. And that started getting my skin a little bit. Because I'm like, okay, if you can't even focus on a conversation, I know you're not going to really be focused on me like that. That's just how I felt. So we continue to hang out, we continue to be friends, but like I said, it was not that deep.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't that deep at all. Like, there was really no substance to that whole talking, whatever. Like, it was not that deep. We kept hanging out, we kept kicking it, and I remember he asked me to be his girl. One time, and I was like, oh, let's continue to talk and see where it goes. But he didn't take offense to it, because number one, that night, I think we were playing Uno. We had played Uno, and he was a little tipsy. I was a little tipsy. We were just kicking and having a good time. And I remember we had wings from Buffalo Wild Wings that night. So we were just having a good time. And when he asked, it was just so awkward. Like, why would you ask when we tipsy eating wings? Why? So I kind of let him down gently. And he was like, oh, okay, cool, respect that. I see where you're coming from. We continued to hang out. But I noticed the more we would hang out, the more he started having issues with his phone. So I realized towards the end of us talking, I never heard his phone ring. Maybe, I think I heard his phone ring out of the times we kicked it, just one time, like actually hearing the phone ring, like the ringer. Every phone got a ringer, but that was the first time I actually heard his. So as we're talking and stuff, he started having phone issues. Oh, I didn't get your message. I didn't get this phone call. So I started falling back, because I was like, okay, well, it wasn't really going anywhere. We were just cool. We were kicking it. So boom, you busy. So as I started falling back, he noticed. He started reaching out and trying to get back up on his game or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. No biggie. It started becoming repetitive. And I noticed, I said, okay, now, anytime I'm on him, he starts, seem like he's distracted, he's getting busy or whatever. But anytime I fall back, that's when he come to me and we start hanging out again and we start kicking it and we start talking. But I also notice his phone be going off a lot. See, I pay attention to a lot of stuff. I'm real observant when I'm around people. So after realizing all this stuff about the phone, him not paying attention and stuff, I already knew, look, I wasn't going to be in his life for that purpose. Hanging out, kicking it, yeah, cool. But as far as being his lady or whatever, no. We continue to hang out, kick it or whatever, but it seemed like the two main issues are getting worse. And I was at this point, I was like, look, God, like if he ain't really meant for me to just hang out with or kick it with or whatever, let me know. Like, God, if he's not the one, or if I'm not supposed to be kicking it with him, let me know. And sure enough, he did. This one particular night, we were supposed to go downtown, and something happened with his money, but it was weird because he was always working. But then he was like, oh, my money low, da-da-da. Okay, whatever. So he was like, hey, but being that we can't go out, would you like to come over? I'd like to cook for you. Now, the one, I didn't know he knew how to really cook like that. But I said, okay, yeah, sure, you can cook or whatever. I was like, what do you want me to bring over? He was like, oh, just bring over some drinks or something, some juice, water, whatever you want. Like, you can just bring that over. I was like, nothing else? He was like, no, I got it. So I get there, we hug, come in. He has everything, like, laid out. He had started cooking, y'all. Like, he was really going in. And from the smell of it, you would think it was going to be amazing. I mean, shoot, I thought it was like some chicken, some type of like rice, and then it was, I want to say either corn or broccoli. Now I want to say it was probably corn. I think it was corn. So he's cooking. In the midst of him cooking, I go and get the Uno cards. So I get the little Uno cards. I set them on the table, and he was like, "Oh, you ready to get whipped again?" I'm like, "Come on, bro. Every time we play, come on." So he was like, "Oh, okay, come on then. Let's chill." So we started a game, and in the middle of the game, like he's getting up, cooking, checking on the food, and coming back and sit down. So it was cool. Like we ain't had no issue. And I remember while we was playing, Ninja Warrior was on TV.
A rapper from Brixton, Derek Bennett. That wasn't.
And I love Ninja Warrior. Is Ninja Warrior? Warriors? I don't know, but I love it. The people that run through the little obstacle course stuff, that's what I was watching. So I was watching it that night, and at this particular time, I'm sitting down at the table, trying to get everything squared away for him because he's up cooking. Got the stuff out for him. I eventually get up from the table because he's starting to spend more time at the stove versus playing cards. I said, hey, how about I just put the Uno cards to the side and we just play later or something? He was like, all right, cool. Y'all, I can't play spades, so yes, don't judge me. So I sit down on the couch. The table is set. We're sitting down. I'm a little buzzed because I did take about 2 shots that night. I'm a light drinker. I feel things sooner than later. So I'm sitting there just looking at the TV, watching Ninja Warrior. Next thing I know, Mike is up at the kitchen stove. He's cooking and whipping it up or whatever. Next thing I know, we hear a knock on the door. It was like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, so I looked at him. I'm like, hey, you expecting company? He never looked back at me. He was like, no, I don't know who that is. So then I just sat there because I'm like, okay, this is not my house. I'm not getting up and answering the door. And he just like kept cooking. And then the knock came through again. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, okay, so you gonna get it or whatever? He was like, well, I'm not expecting company and they know not to pop up on me. I'm like, well, it could be an emergency. Are you gonna go get the door? He was like, no, it's all right. Now, I knew something was wrong because he wouldn't go get the door to his house. I mean, we at your place and you can't get the door. So I said, well, I'll get it for you. As I go get it, he was like, nah, don't worry about it, man. He dropped that spoon at that stove so quick. I got it. I said, okay. So he was like, no, you sit down, I got it. I was like, but you said you weren't going to answer and you didn't know who it was. He was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I think I know who. I was like, you lying. So I sat down. Now, normally if somebody come to y'all house, you look out the peephole, you go ahead and open the door. This dude, he looked out the peephole and looked and looked and looked. And I'm like, yo, I was like, hey, you good? He was like, yeah, I'm trying to see who it is. But as he's saying that, the person's knocking. I'm like, how can you not see who it is if they knocking at the door? He was like, oh, never mind. He slowly opens the door, and he had half his body behind the door and the other half in the door. So he opened it. He was like, hey, what's up? And then I could barely hear the voice, but the voice was like, why you ain't answer my phone calls? You been seeing my phone calls? And then he got lower. He was like, well, I got company. And the voice got louder. She was like, what kind of company you got over here? So I said, he just asked me to be his girl not that long ago. Here it is. I was like, oh, okay. And the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the situation was because we always so I thought, we kept stuff 100 between each other. So all this whole little like sneaky stuff, I mean, I ain't even, granted, what we were doing it wasn't that deep, but still, the fact, if you got females popping up at your house and they feel comfortable enough to do it, clearly y'all got something going on. He was like, well, wait a minute. She was like, well, who you got up in the house? He was like, don't worry about it. Hold on. And he was like, don't come in my door. So he goes and shut the door. She's standing at the door. And I looked at him like, oh, okay. And I was like, so who is that? He was like, don't worry about it. He was like, ain't nothing important. He goes in his room. He went digging around for something. And then he walked back out the room looking at me. By this time, y'all, sweat was dripping. Like when I said he was popping sweat like I've never seen anybody pop sweat before, it was funny to me. So I'm just looking. The whole time, I was chuckling all on the inside parts, okay? Because it was funny to me. So I'm just looking at him. He walked by. He goes to the door. Now, as the girl is standing there, he's opening the door. He's talking to her. And the conversation is kind of, lingering or whatever. So she was like, okay, so who is that? And so, Lord forgive me, I was being petty. But I bust out laughing so that she could hear my voice to know, yes, there's a female in here. So then when she heard it, she was like, oh, so that's what we got going on? Really? So you just couldn't tell me that? She was like, really? You got a female in there? I was like, hey, Mike, you good? And then she was like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. So he steps out the door, kind of grabbing her. He said something to her. She left. He goes and closed the door. Y'all, let me tell you this. So as he goes and closes the door, he goes in the restroom. I said, okay, cool. I get up, I sit at the table, and I just sat down. He walked out of the restroom. Whole time, we ain't saying that to each other now. He walked out the restroom. He went to the kitchen. He gathered the food and brought it to the table. So he made about 2 or 3 trips. Each time, I'm still looking at Ninja Warrior because the way the setup was, the dining room was like, the little dining area was right here, and then, I mean, you literally could stick your toe in the living room area, like the sitting room, and then it's the dining room. So it was all together. I haven't looked at him. He's walking back and forth in front of me in the TV. He ain't said a word. He starts putting food on my plate, and I'm looking at this food, and I'm like, this don't even look good. The rice looked hard. The corn, it was corn. The corn didn't look like it was seasoned, and the chicken looked like it had been cooking so long that it was straight dry as a feather. I was like, oh my God. So I looked at it, glanced back up, looked at Ninja Warrior. So then after he's done whatever he was doing, he sat down at the table. He grabbed my hand. He was like, you want to pray? Whole time when look at me, he was like, you want to pray? I was like, nah, you go ahead. You going to need it. So when I said that, he kind of chuckled. So he said a quick prayer. I picked up my spoon, ate some of the food. I stopped. I put my stuff down. I was like, hey, what's her name? And then I glanced up at him. Still sweating, looking crazy. that she's nobody. Don't worry about it. I was like, she gotta be somebody. She can pop up anytime she want. And number two, you went in your room and got something for her and gave it back to her. I said, so who is she? Y'all, he couldn't say anything. He looked at me. It's not important. I promise you. You know that time where, we weren't really talking like that. You kind of fell back and da-da-da. I said, oh, so it's my fault. So she's somebody you've been smashing. No, I wouldn't say I've been smashing, but
Why the fuck you lying?
I mean, we become cool. So you've been smashing her. And to me, like, I'm just like, yo, my main thing was just tell the truth. I would have stayed there and tried to endure that food, but just tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
And I lie to y'all not, yo, I saw everything with my own eyes. And do you know this guy was still trying to lie to me about what had just taken place? I was like, bro, come on. Like, I'm not stupid. So anyway, he starts fabricating the whole lie. Like he went so far back to about 5th grade as to why he did this from this date and that date. And I was like, what does this got to do with anything I just asked you? So I'm looking at him. I let him get it all out. And when he was done, I was like, are you done?
Are you done? Are you done?
You done now? He was like, come on, don't be like that. I didn't know if he was coming or going, da-da-da. I said, that ain't the thing. The thing is telling the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're talking to somebody and they can't keep it real with you, after you seen what you saw, yo, just cut ties. Because at the end of the day, no telling what they doing behind your back. So anyway, he kept, so like I said, I asked him, was he done? And he was like, yeah, I just want to let you know this, that, and the third, because blah, blah. The whole time I'm thinking, like, nigga, this is it. No more. So, excuse me, y'all, I'm hot. So, sure enough, after he was done talking, I said, okay, excuse me. I get up, I slide myself up from the table, I start collecting my stuff, and he grabbed me. He was like, hold on, where you going? What are you doing? And I was like, hold on, player. Don't touch me. I'm leaving. Why you got to leave? It's not that serious. Okay, I'll tell you everything you need to know. Da, da, da. I said, no, the problem is this. You couldn't tell me the truth when I asked you. I was like, if you would have just sat right there then and there and told me what was up, like, look, yeah, we cool. Me and her, we've been linking up, this, that, and the third. Boom, that's it. I mean, I asked you. That's all you had to say. I would have stayed right there and be like, okay, boom. And we probably would have joked about it. I would have made him feel uncomfortable joking about it. But we would have joked about it. So that was the main thing to me. It was just like, why you got to lie? So anyway, long story short, I left. He blew my phone up like for days at a time. No, I take it back. Excuse me. He checked to make sure I got home. I didn't respond. Then it was like the next day is when he started calling my phone, texting me, explaining, the full situation, how they met, and this, that, and the third. But by then I was like, I don't care now. Like, you a liar, you a lie. You just gonna lie. So, yeah, he kept calling and texting me. And then shortly thereafter, some other things went down. So, yeah, all I got to say is, y'all, when somebody going to lie straight to your face, just do it. It ain't even worth it. Yes, it take time to get to that point. But if you can get out of there, get out of there. I mean, there's no need for lying. Especially when, I saw you. Like, how you going to lie? I saw you, bruh. You not invisible. And she wasn't either. Because I remember she was wearing like this little black jacket or whatever. And she had like a scarf on her head. It was like her hair was wrapped. And she had like a scarf over it. And then she had her jacket and her hood on. So you could see just the wrap portion of her scarf like in the front. But yeah, just be careful. People lie for no reason. You can see it with your own eyes and they'll still try to finesse you and lie. And if you got that type of person in your life, you don't need them, deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that deep. I don't know what that was. But whatever you do, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and I'll see you next time. Bye, fam.